Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Shri Radhe. Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Hanuman. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivrajacharya Stotra Sarashri Srimad Abhayacharanavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jaya Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivrajacharya Stotra Sarashri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki. Shri Gangamayi Ki. Yamuna Mayi Ki. Bhakti Devi Ki. Tulsi Maharani Ki. Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki. Samaveta Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Okay. So today we're reading from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18. Chapter 18 is the last chapter, the conclusion. It's called The Perfection of Renunciation. And today we're reading from text 37. Are all of you familiar with the Bhagavad Gita? Yes? So I'll read the verse. Line by line you can repeat after me. It's here on the screen. Yattadagre vishamiva pariname mritopamam tad sukham satvikam proktam atma buddhi prasadajam yattadagre vishamiva pariname mritopamam tad sukham satvikam proktam atma buddhi prasadajam yattadagre vishamiva pariname mritopamam tad sukham satvikam proktam atma buddhi prasadajam. Would someone like to recite the verse? Yattadagre vishamiva pariname mritopamam tad sukham satvikam proktam atma buddhi prasadajam. Someone else like to try? Okay, then we'll do the word for word. Yat, which. Tat, that. Agre, in the beginning. Vishameva, like poison. Pariname, at the end. Amrita, nectar. Upamam, compared to. Tat, that. Sukham, happiness. Satvikam, in the mode of goodness. Proktam, is said. Atma, in the self. Buddhi, of intelligence. Prasadajam, born of the satisfaction. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. That which in the beginning may be just like poison, but at the end is just like nectar, and which awakens one to self-realization, is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness. Purport. In the pursuit of self-realization, one has to follow many rules and regulations to control the mind and senses, and to concentrate the mind on the self. All these procedures are very difficult, bitter like poison, but if one is successful in following the regulations and comes to the transcendental position, he begins to drink real nectar and he enjoys life. So before beginning to speak, I'd like to recite some prayers to our spiritual masters from whom we have received this knowledge. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshururmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. So before we begin to speak, I'd like to request the blessings of all the devotees present. That please bless me. I can say something that's pleasing to Krishna and beneficial to all of you. Vanchakalpadrubhyascha kripasindubhyeva patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So I'll read the verse once again. That which in the beginning may be just like poison, but at the end is just like nectar, and which awakens one to self-realization, is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness. So here Krishna is speaking about the workers in the modes of nature, and how different kinds of understanding, knowledge, etc. in the modes of nature. And here he's speaking about happiness in the modes of nature, and he's starting with happiness in the mode of goodness. So he's saying that that which in the beginning is just like poison, but at the end is just like nectar, and which awakens one to self-realization, is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness. So an example of this is like Shreyas and Prayas. Shreyas means that which is for our ultimate good, our long-term benefit, and Prayas means immediate gratification. So we can give the example of a child. Say a child just wants to play, because child likes to play, they enjoy playing. So if the child just thinks, I want to play, so I'm going to play all day, then that's prayas, that's immediate gratification. But if under the guidance of the parents, then the child understands that actually I shouldn't play all day, I should go to school, even though I don't like going to school, because then after in life I can have a better situation. So then that's called Shreyas. He's acting for his long-term benefit. So this is an example of happiness in the mode of goodness. That in the beginning it may seem like not happiness, like poison, like going to school. The child doesn't want to go to school, but then after he enjoys in his life. So this is one example that can be given of happiness in the mode of goodness. But actually there is more to it, because it says that happiness which is in the mode of goodness awakens one to self-realization. So actually happiness in the mode of goodness needs to be connected to God, not just in this sense. Just the school education is not actually happiness in the mode of goodness, because we need to actually get knowledge of God for us to awaken this transcendental happiness. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada, he speaks about this. He says that in the pursuit of self-realization, one has to follow many rules and regulations to control the mind and senses and to concentrate the mind on the self. All these procedures are very difficult, bitter like poison. But if one is successful in following the regulations and comes to the transcendental position, he begins to drink real nectar and he enjoys life. So in the beginning, we need to put in some effort to practice spiritual life. Like in our practices, we wake up early. So waking up early is difficult for most people, but we do it understanding that I'm working towards purifying myself, so I can experience real happiness through my transcendental senses, my real senses. Because when we get knowledge from the Bhagavad Gita, we understand that we're actually the soul, and real happiness can only be experienced on the level of the soul. Happiness in relation to the senses of the body is not real happiness, because it's temporary. So the intelligent person, he understands that either way there's going to be some suffering. Just like even if we want to gratify our senses, we also need to work. And nobody likes going to work, but still we have to work. So we should think about what we want to achieve in life and what we want to endeavor for, and what will give us the best benefit, what will give us the eternal benefit. And then we should fix our determination in that way. So in the Bhagavad Gita, we find Krishna gives us nice guidance about how spiritual life is actually the best investment of our time and energy, our dedication, because it gives us the best results by giving us eternal happiness. Happiness in relation to the senses is only temporary, and whatever we attain in terms of wealth, education, position in society, all the things people work for, it's all finished at the time of death. But the endeavor we put into practicing devotional service, into trying to please Krishna, the benefit we get from that is eternal. Even after death, the results are not taken away. And there's a nice verse in the Bhagavad Gita that describes this. So neha bikrama nashosti pratyavayo na vidyate swapamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. That even in this endeavor there is no loss or diminution, and even a little advancement on this path can save one from the greatest type of fear. And on the other hand, it says that in the Bhagavad Gita is explained that an intelligent person, he doesn't engage in the activities of the senses and sense gratification because they're actually a source of misery. Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkha yonaya evate adyantavanta konteya nateshu ramate buddha. An intelligent person does not take part in the senses and sense gratification because they're causes of misery. Because once we, by engaging in sense gratification, then we stay in the material world. And the material world is, Krishna says, dukkhalayam shashvatam, a temporary place of misery. So by continuing only in sense gratification, then we have to stay in this material world, which is miserable. But if we endeavor for devotional service, then we can attain to the spiritual world. And that is, the spiritual world is eternal, and it's full of happiness. And that's our actual home, where we can practice devotional service, engage in loving devotional service to Krishna, and attain the greatest happiness, eternal happiness. So we can see the example in the life of many devotees, how they understood these teachings and they practiced it in their own life. Like many of the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, they were from rich families. And for example, Alfred Ford, he was the great-grandson of the person who started the Ford company from the car, the car company called the Ford. And so he was very rich, but he wasn't satisfied because the soul can't be satisfied just by giving comforts to the body. Just like a bird in the cage. If the bird is not given food, only the cage is taken care of, the bird cannot be happy. The bird instead is getting weaker and weaker without getting any food. So similarly, we as spirit souls can never be happy with any amount of material comforts. So anybody who is has a little bit of knowledge, and it was not so much covered up by ignorance, they're unhappy with the materialistic way of life. They feel some emptiness in them. And so many people, they search for this deeper meaning to life. And once they find it, then they realize that this is actually giving me happiness, not sense gratification. And so they give it up. Many people, they just spend their whole life working to become rich and famous. But we should see that, we should look at the lives of those who have actually attained those things. People who are actually rich, they're actually famous, they're on the top of society. Are they actually happy? Do I actually want to be like them? And if not, then why are we working for that aim if somebody has already attained that and they're not happy? So we can see from these examples, there are many examples of rich and famous people. Some of them, they just became so disappointed that they commit suicide. But others, like this example I was giving of Alfred Ford, he actually found great happiness in the Krishna consciousness movement. And so he gave up all of his pursuit for sense enjoyment with his money and opulence, and instead he dedicated all of his energy and his wealth for Krishna service. And he's been influential in building the Temple of the Vedic Planetarium in Mayapur. I don't know if any of you have heard of it. So he's using his wealth in that way, and if you speak to him, he's very happy about what he's doing in his life, and he doesn't have any regrets from leaving the materialistic way of life because he's fully happy in his service to Krishna. And there are other examples also, many different devotees like Brahmananda. He was also from a rich family, but he gave up. He wasn't satisfied with that, and he came to join Srila Prabhupada. And he actually had to give up all his wealth because his father was upset with him. He didn't like that he had joined the temple. And he said that if you go join the temple, then I'm not going to give you any money. And so Brahmananda said, okay, I don't need the money. I just want to be happy. And so he came to join Srila Prabhupada, and he found true happiness also in devotional service. And also in the time of Lord Chaitanya, we have the example of Raghunath Das Thakur, Raghunath Das Goswami. He was also from a very rich family. His father was a great landlord, and he had everything that anybody could want to be happy. He had a most beautiful wife. He had power. He had influence, friends, wealth, but none of that was making him happy, because the soul can't be happy with material happiness. The soul is spiritual, so it needs spiritual happiness. And spiritual happiness can only be attained through a connection with the Supreme Spirit, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the original form of whom is Krishna, who we see on the altar here. And so he gave up everything to join Krishna consciousness, to be a devotee of Krishna. And he was so much absorbed in the ecstasy of Krishna consciousness and the happiness of Krishna consciousness that he wasn't even bothered by like the weather conditions, or he didn't even feel hungry or thirsty. He would sit under the sun, and he would just be so absorbed in meditating, remembering the transcendental pastimes of Krishna, and experiencing such happiness in that way. So we can see from the examples of these devotees, this is an example of happiness in the mode of goodness. That in the beginning, it may seem difficult to practice spiritual life, but in the end, we can see from the examples of these devotees how they find true happiness. So it's worth taking up this process. We just have to have a little bit of a determination and faith in the beginning, and have faith that this is if I keep on going, then I'll attain the happiness that so many people have attained by following this process. So by hearing about these examples of devotees who have followed this process, we can gain faith that if I also follow this process, I'll also attain the same result. And so the devotees, they fully dedicate their life to this process. And we can see from the example of Srila Prabhupada how much he struggled in the beginning to establish this Krishna consciousness movement. In the beginning, first of all, he started, before he came to America, he started by writing the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, because he wanted to have something solid to present when he went to America. So he thought, let me first translate the Srimad Bhagavatam, then I'll have something to present to the people. And so he started, but that was a big job, because first of all, English wasn't his first language, so it was difficult for him to write in English. And then he had to print it, and he was staying in Vrindavan, so he had to go to Calcutta, and not Calcutta, Delhi, in the train. So he didn't have much money, so he would go like in the third class train, which I don't know if you're accustomed to trains in India, but the third class train in India is all the poor people go, and it's like super crowded and dirty, and it's hot in India as well. So it's like a very difficult journey. And so he would take that journey to go to the printers in Delhi to try to get the books printed. And again, he didn't have money to print the books, so he would go around to different friends and rich men to try to ask them for donations to help him print the Srimad Bhagavatam. And so with great effort, he would he would try to collect some money. He was able to print a small Back to Godhead, and so he would go in the streets of Delhi and try to distribute the Back to Godhead and ask people for donations to help him print the Srimad Bhagavatam. So in this way, Srila Prabhupada, he passed through a lot of difficult situations, but in the end, we can see how Krishna reciprocated with him and how much happiness Srila Prabhupada was feeling because of his full dedication to the service of Krishna. We can see Srila Prabhupada, he blessed him with so many loving, enthusiastic, caring followers, and with so much opulence. He established 108 temples all over the world, and these are just these are external things, but internally we can see that Srila Prabhupada, he was also feeling great transcendental happiness, because his disciples, they say that Srila Prabhupada's eyes, they were always like wet with tears, because he was feeling so much transcendental bliss. And sometimes even when he was giving lectures to the devotees, he would sometimes become so overwhelmed with happiness that he would not even be able to speak, and he would start shedding tears of joy. So Srila Prabhupada, he was feeling great transcendental happiness, and because of this happiness also, he wanted to share Krishna consciousness, because he could see that the people in the world, they weren't happy, and he wanted to share this happiness, give everyone a chance to experience this happiness, which actually everybody is looking for, but he could see that they're looking for it in the wrong place. So Srila Prabhupada, he, with great effort, he came to give us these teachings, which he presented so nicely as in the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam. So I hope all of you will take advantage of this wonderful teachings as Srila Prabhupada has presented in the Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. And by reading it, we'll understand how to practice this process, what the benefits are of practicing this process, and then we can actually start to practice it and experience the results. And the Bhagavad Gita is in the chapter 9, it said that Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idamutamam Pratyaksha Bhagamam Dharmyam Susukam Kartum Apyayam. That this process, this knowledge, is the king of education. It is the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and it gives direct perception of the self by realization. So this process of devotional service, it gives direct perception. Like when you practice it, you can actually feel the results in your heart. So as you practice it, then you'll become more and more enthusiastic to keep on going as you feel the results of devotional service in your life. Like when you chant the holy names, then you'll begin to feel your mind is becoming more peaceful, more happy, and you'll start to feel a closer connection to Krishna in your life. So all of these things will propel you further on your spiritual journey. So this is like happiness in the mode of goodness. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, in the pursuit of self-realization, one has to follow many rules and regulations to control the mind and the senses, and to concentrate the mind on the self. Yeah, so here it speaks about the mind. Actually, in spiritual life, it's the most important thing is to be attentive, to be present in our practices, to do it with devotion. So in the chanting of the holy names, it's recommended that we should be attentive while chanting. We should try to hear each syllable of the mantra when we chant, And that way we can actually get the benefit of chanting by being attentive. And in the Bhagavad Gita, sixth chapter, Krishna speaks about the mind, that the mind can be the friend of the conditioned soul and the enemy as well. So one who controls the mind is like the friend, and one who doesn't control the mind is like an enemy. So we should try to make our mind our friend. So in the beginning, this may seem difficult. Like the mind is saying that I want to eat this nice food, or I want to go here, I want to go there. The mind is always giving so many demands, but we should understand. We should rule our mind by our intelligence. And our intelligence we need to strengthen by Krishna consciousness, by giving it transcendental knowledge, by reading the scriptures. That's how we can strengthen our intelligence. And when we strengthen our intelligence, then with our intelligence we'll be able to control the mind and say, no, I'm not going to do that because that's not going to give me real happiness. That's not good for me. And in this way, we can make our mind our friend gradually by just accepting what's favorable for our advancement in the spiritual life. And Krishna says, Jitatmana prashantasya paramatma samahita shitoshna sukadukeshu tatamana pamanayo. That for one who has conquered the mind, the super soul is already reached. For such a person, heat and cold, happiness and distress, honor and dishonor, they're all the same. So once we control the mind, then we can start our relationship with Krishna, because Krishna is right there in our heart. So once we just pay attention to Krishna and say that I'm going to use my senses and my mind to engage in the service of Krishna, then Krishna is pleased with us, and then he reveals himself to us. And when Krishna reveals himself to us, then we can understand how to attain him. Krishna says, Dadami buddhi yogam tam, yena mam upayantite. To one who is always engaged in serving me with love, I give them the understanding by which they can come to me. So does anybody have any questions so far? Okay, nice question. Thank you. As in the beginning, we're still, in the Bhagavatam is described that there is devotional service in the modes also. So when in the beginning, when we start devotional service, then we're still partially under the modes of nature. But as we progress in devotional service, then our devotional service gradually becomes more pure. And then in the end we become completely free from all the modes of material nature, and we perform it only for Krishna's pleasure. In the Nectar of Devotion, Srila Rupa Goswami gives the definition of pure devotional service. That's anyabhilashta sunyam jnana karma dhyanavitam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhaktir uttama. That pure devotional service is free from all desires for fruitive activities, and free from all mental speculation, and it's performed only for the pleasure of Krishna. So, but in the beginning we still have different material desires as well. So some people, they have like desires more in the mode of passion. some more in the mode of ignorance, or some like in the mode of goodness. And the Bhagavatam is described like a devotee in the mode of passion. He performs devotional service because he wants to get like some honor, some recognition, or he wants to get like some result. Like many people, they come to the temple and they say, they do like some puja and like, Krishna, I'm gonna do this, whatever. In India, they have like this Govardhan Parikram. They go around the Govardhan hill, and then, but their desire is like, okay, maybe they pray like, let my husband do well in his work and get lots of money. And so this is like in the mode of passion, devotional service in the mode of passion, although they're worshipping Krishna by circumambulating the hill, which is a representation of Krishna, but still they have material desires. So like that. So that's like a devotional service in the mode of passion. And devotional service in the mode of ignorance is like we envy people, we envy the devotees, and we just have the nature of ignorance. Like ignorance is like expert in insulting people and things like that, but we're still they're trying to do some service for Krishna. So in the Bhagavatam it says, and in the mode of goodness it's just like we want to be happy. So we're like, we do devotional service, but our aim is like to be happy. But actually pure devotional service is performed just to please Krishna. The devotee doesn't even think about his own happiness. He's not eager to attain like a position in society. And of course, he's not envious of the devotees. He sees himself as a servant of everyone, and a servant of Krishna. And he just tries to please Krishna in whatever way Krishna would like him to serve. So that's pure devotional service. But the beauty of devotional service is that whoever takes to devotional service, in whatever mode they may be, they gradually become purified. That's why in the Bhagavatam it says, Akama sarva kamo va moksha kamo dharadi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. That whether one is full of all material desires, or he has no material desires, or he is desirous of liberation, still he should worship Lord Krishna. Because by performing devotional service, one becomes free from all contaminations. And then one ultimately attains that transcendental happiness. That's described in the Bhagavatam also. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktira dhokshaje haitukiya pratihata yayatma suprasidati. The highest occupation of all humanity is that by which one can attain to pure devotional service to Krishna. And that devotional service should be unmotivated and uninterrupted, and then it will completely satisfy the self. One is unmotivated. So does that answer your question? Does anybody have any other questions? Any questions? Any comments? Can I add something? Do you all read Bhagavad Gita? You have the Bhagavad Gita? Yeah? Should try to read it also. Find some time to read. Bhagavad Gita gives you valuable instructions for our life. You all have the Bhagavad Gita? Yeah? You read sometimes? Try to find some time to read. You can read 10 minutes every day, 10, 15 minutes. You read one page every day. It'll be, you'll feel the benefit in your life of reading Bhagavad Gita. It's Krishna's instructions on how we can attain the best benefit for our human life. So, let me see my notes here. I wanted to read actually one verse here. It talks about, because we were talking about controlling the mind. And Krishna says, Arjuna says in the Bhagavad Gita, in one place he says that controlling the mind is so difficult. Krishna, how can you tell me to control the mind? It's like more difficult than controlling the wind. So Krishna says, yes, that's true. but it's possible by suitable practice and by detachment. So I just wanted to read that verse. Prabhupada explains nicely in the purport about what is the suitable practice for which we can control the mind, even though the mind is very difficult to control. So this is in chapter 6, text 35. Yeah, it's here. So Krishna says, Shri Bhagavan Vacha Asamshayam Mahabaho Manudur Nigraham Chalam Abhyasena Takunteya Vairagyena Chagrihyate. Lord Shri Krishna said, O mighty armed son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that by the practice of Krishna consciousness, one engages in 9 types of devotional service to Krishna. The first and foremost of such devotional service is hearing about Krishna. This is a very powerful transcendental method for purging the mind of all misgivings. So here Srila Prabhupada is talking about the importance of hearing for Krishna. That hearing about Krishna is the suitable practice to curb the restless mind, because by hearing, then the mind becomes cleansed of all disturbing things. The more one hears about Krishna, the more one becomes enlightened and detached from everything that draws the mind away from Krishna. Yeah, so it's said that once one understands the beauty of devotional service, then automatically one becomes detached from sense gratification, from material life, because one experiences that actually the taste for sense enjoyment is inferior to the taste we get from service to Krishna. So then we lose taste for that. So the best way to control the mind then, and to detach it from material engagements, is to try to attach it to a spiritual life. And the best way to do that is by hearing about how wonderful spiritual life is, how to practice spiritual life, and then we can actually start to practice it and feel the results, and then we become detached from the spiritual life. By detaching the mind from activities not devoted to the Lord, one can very easily learn vairagya. Vairagya means detachment from matter and engagement of the mind in the spirit. Impersonal spiritual detachment is more difficult than attaching the mind to the activities of Krishna. Yeah, so some groups, they try to focus on the impersonal, but that's very difficult, because naturally we're always active, and we like to have something to focus our mind on. It's difficult to just negate everything from the mind, because actually we have no experience of that in this world of just nothingness. There's always some form, some activity, some object of focusing our mind. So in Krishna consciousness, we have a very nice spiritual alternative to focus our mind on, and that is the beautiful form of the Lord that we have here in the temple. That's why Srila Prabhupada, he took great efforts to build these temples so people can come and see the beautiful form of the Lord. And he wanted the forms of the Lord to be decorated very nicely, very beautifully, so that we can come and fix our mind on them, on the beautiful form of the Lord, being attracted by the Lord's beauty. And another thing also we can fix our mind on is the sound of the holy name of the Lord. By fixing our mind on the sound, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Then we can fix our mind on the sound, and in that way we can control our mind and make the mind peaceful. In the previous verse, Srila Prabhupada, he also speaks about the chanting. He says that the easiest way to control the mind, as suggested by Lord Chaitanya, is chanting Hare Krishna, the great mantra for deliverance in all humility. the method prescribed is Savayamana Krishna Padara Vindayo. One must engage one's mind fully in Krishna. Only then will there remain no other engagement to agitate the mind. And so, if we just try to keep our mind vacant, then naturally our mind, which is naturally active, will go to some other engagement. So the only way to actually control the mind is to fully engage it in Krishna conscious activities. So that's why in the beginning, especially when our mind is very restless, we should try to engage it as much as possible in Krishna conscious activities. And Prabhupada gave us a wonderful facility for all of that. Like we can engage our tongue in tasting the prasadam of Krishna, in chanting the Lord's holy names, our ears in hearing the holy names, our eyes in seeing the form of the Lord, our nose in smelling the flowers offered to the Lord. We can engage our hands in performing various kinds of service for the Lord, like we can help to clean the temple, or we can engage in cooking for the Lord. So in this way, by always hearing about the Lord, by dedicating our activities to the Lord, also even while we perform our work, we can think that I'm working to get money to use in the service of Krishna. So in that way we can dedicate all our activities for Krishna. Even while we're sleeping, we can think that I'm sleeping to give strength to my body so I can engage it in the service of Krishna. So in this way, by dedicating all our activities to Krishna, then we can always remain absorbed in Krishna consciousness. And that stage of Krishna consciousness is the stage of true happiness for all of us. So Srila Prabhupada, he speaks here about controlling the mind, and he says that this practice is practical because by hearing about Krishna, one becomes automatically attached to the Supreme Spirit. Yeah, so then when we become attached to Krishna, then all of this is, it becomes natural. We naturally engage. We naturally want to engage in the service of Krishna because we actually start to develop a loving relationship with Krishna. So you can see how nice, wonderful instructions are given in the Bhagavad Gita. So I encourage all of you to please take to the reading of the Bhagavad Gita. Make it in your life every day. Please read something from the Bhagavad Gita, and you'll find it'll bring about a wonderful change in your life. So thank you for your kind attention. Now we'll